Welcome to Two Lamps Last Hour News. We're here to bring you part 2 of trucker layoffs exploding.
Nobody wants a tariff tax put on us. Nobody wants to live in a FEMA city. Nobody wants to live in a smart city. That needs to cut back. He could put a tax on luxury items instead of what the poor has to buy, and he knows it.
Y'all take a look at this.
Making money to spend money at their businesses. And this is a snowball effect. So then you have the restaurants in the city that are losing customers because the people that used to come into the restaurant are now unemployed. So they're laying off waiters and cooks and managers. And if it gets bad enough, the restaurant closes. And then when the restaurant closes, the suppliers that supply the restaurant food and seafood and potatoes and dry goods, now they're not getting orders from the restaurant, so they have to lay off people at the factory. You see how this snowballs one business to the next, one business to the next? It's a chain reaction that once it starts, it is hard to reverse the chain reaction. So the number one thing that we discussed is happening right now. Layoffs in the trucking industry are occurring due to the impact of tariffs, particularly those related with trade with China. The disruption to international trade, especially imports, has led to a decline in freight volumes and reduced demand for trucking services, forcing trucking companies to cut back on labor costs. Tariffs have led to a decrease in imports from China, which can account for a significant portion of U.S. trucking volume. This means less freight to transport, leading to reduced workloads for trucking companies. Lower demand. If imports decline, trucking companies experience lower demand for their services, impacting their bottom line. Layoffs. To manage the reduced demand, trucking companies are implementing layoffs and other cost-cutting measures, including furloughing drivers. The tariffs have created a climate of uncertainty in the trucking industry, with companies unsure of the long-term impact on their business and workforce. Mack Trucks and Volvo Group have both announced layoffs in their companies, citing the potential impact of tariffs on demand for their trucks. Potential further layoffs, the trade war and tariffs are expected to cause a further slowdown in the trucking activity, with some predicting a recession in the industry, leading to more layoffs. So you see, this is a snowball effect. The snowball is on top of the mountain. It is starting to roll and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And by the end of this year, it's going to be an avalanche. That once an economic trend is set in motion, it takes more energy to reverse that trend than to start a trend like this. We predicted this. People didn't believe me. They told me, Paul, trust the plan, Paul. Paul, you've got Trump derangement syndrome, Paul. You're a friggin' idiot, Paul. You don't know what you're talking about, Paul. Trust the plan. It's all going to work out, Paul. Well, how's it working for you now, bud? How's it working? And now people are starting to see prices in Target and Walmart and other stores going through the roof, skyrocketing 50%, 75%. 100%, just like we told you was going to happen. And it's going to get worse, folks. This is just the beginning. This is the tip of the iceberg, the financial iceberg that's about to collapse. The United States of America is the Titanic. The United States of America, we are the Titanic. And we are fixing to hit the orange iceberg called Donald Trump tariffs. that has put everything in motion, that has sabotaged our economy, that will bring our country to its knees. We are about to hit that iceberg, and we've already ran into it. The iceberg, the orange iceberg, who is a moron that thinks he's a genius running our country. Folks, he's a moron. He's an idiot. But he thinks he's a genius. And whether you agree with me or not, you will agree with me in about 3 months. Either willingly or unwillingly, you will see that my predictions are almost 100% correct. And we never come on here and say, thus saith the Lord. Thus saith the Lord. The Lord told me this is going to happen, brother. Praise the Lord, it's going to happen. Have you ever seen me do that? No. I don't claim to be a prophet. But I am very, very good at what I do. Taking data points, hundreds and thousands of data points, and connecting them all together and figuring out what's going to happen. It's called having an analytical mind who can figure out and look down the road and connect these points together and see what we're going to be facing. Not only my channel, Canadian Prepper, there's a lot of people that do the same thing. I'm not the only one. So this is the breaking news coming in about the truckers. The truckers are the first clog in the wheel. And if you don't believe me, Google it, folks, if you don't believe me. Some industries are starting to feel the strain from President Donald Trump's tariffs, with truckers taking a particularly hard hit. Layoffs have begun as the United States ports experienced a decline in cargo ship arrivals, resulting in less freight to transport across the country. News Nation. Truck drivers get laid off after company falls apart. American truck drivers are giving up because tariffs. Truck drivers are giving up. Video after video, article after article, 15 hours ago, 2 weeks ago. Here is your proof, folks. Listen. Here is your proof. I'm giving you the documented proof. If you don't believe me, Google it yourself. Article after article. How latest Trump tariffs could affect trucking, heavy-duty trucking. This is from a trucking company. Tariffs to trigger empty shelves, widespread trucking layoffs. Trucking industry hit as tariff slash imports triggers layoffs. Trucking industry blames Trump's tariffs in layoffs. Trucking industry giant blames Trump's tariffs and layoffs. MSM. Mass layoffs in trucking and retail coming. This is from Freightways, a trucking company. Video after video, article after article. Everything is vindicating my prediction. So tell me once again, Paul, you don't know what you're talking about. I want you guys that love Trump to tell me, Paul, you don't know what you're talking about. You're an idiot, Paul. You got Trump derangement syndrome. No, I don't. Because listen, folks, here is the evidence that what I told you was coming is coming. I'm about to show you a video, and we're going to use this video under the Fair Copyright Act because we're going to be discussing and criticizing, and this is breaking news, so we're going to use some of this video to show you this is actually happening at the ports, West Coast, and even some on the East Coast. This is a snowball effect, and our economy is about to take a downturn that there's nothing going to revive it. And while all of this is going on, Donald Trump is going to take us to war. You see, it gets better, folks. As the economy is imploding, Donald Trump's going to take us to war, probably with Iran, if not Russia and China. So it gets better and better and better under this orange Mussolini, the orange man. It gets better and better. Make America great again, really? We haven't even discussed the beautiful, big, beautiful bill, Mike Johnson, the Moses Mike, they just passed in the House of Representatives. We haven't even touched on that. that tens of millions of elderly people are going to be kicked out of nursing homes, and people are going to freak out when they go to the grocery store in a month or two and their food stamps doesn't work, or it's half the amount of money. And when they go to the doctor and they won't be able to get services because their Medicaid and Medicare has been cut off. And we also told you this was going to happen. We told you Trump was going to cut Medicaid, Medicare, old people stuff, kick out people out of the nursing home because they depend on that money for their nursing home care. We told you, and people say, you got Trump derangement syndrome. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. What do you got to say now, bud? What do you got to say? Paul, you're crazy? No, I was right again. But you can't stand to utter those words, can you? You can't stand to utter it, can you? You wanted me to be wrong so bad, but I'm not. Because God is leading me to warn you ahead of time to take precautions, and people thought I was full of BS. But I'm not. I'm not full of BS. I'm not your average preacher. I don't tickle your ears. I tell you things that's going to upset you and shake you up because I'm trying to help you. You see, that's what most preachers don't do. They don't care. All they want is your money. They want to tickle your ears. They want to tell you everything you want to hear because they want your money. I'm not like that. I do need support, yes. But I'm here to warn you, prepare you for what is to come. And reality is not going to be very pleasant. It's not, folks. Listen. We are in the tribulation. Do you understand? We are in the tribulation under Donald J. Trump. They are setting up the beast system, the artificial intelligence. They're going to go to a digital currency, digital economy. And they're going to track every single thing that you purchase. It's going to be recorded, whether it's a piece of bubble gum or a car. They're going to know exactly everything that you're going to do. Under Donald Trump. And listen, you can blame this on Joe Biden all day long till you turn blue, but it's not Biden's fault. Biden is not the president of the United States. Donald Trump is. Put the blame where it belongs. Well, I couldn't vote for Kamala. Well, you know, I do have to agree with you there, but what would you rather have, Kamala or the Antichrist? You know, listen, folks, you got to step back, right? Step back a minute and snap out of your delusion. Would you rather have the Antichrist or Kamala? Well, it was a choice between two evil people. Would you rather have the Antichrist or Kamala? I'm not saying Kamala would have been a good pick, but at least she wasn't the Antichrist. The Antichrist that fooled 99.9% of the Christians in America. He fooled you. And now we're going to see the fruit of that mature. The fruit is about to mature. Folks, this is a snowball. You can't stop it. So the next video that we're going to show you here, let me get it on the screen. They're talking about the trucking layoffs, what is about to come, and we're using this video under the Fair Copyright Act firsthand what is happening. And listen, I don't mean to jump on people. I really don't. I don't mean to jump on. But I've called so much hell the last 3 or 4 years from people that ragged on me, called me names. Some of the most evil and nasty comments on my channel because I was trying to tell you the truth about Donald Trump and you didn't believe me. But all of those people, you will believe me in 3 or 4 months as we go into the summer, headed into the fall. Once it hits your pocketbook, once it hits you personally, you're going to say, dang, that Paul, that long-haired hippie, look looking guy, he was right. He was right. Martha, he was right. He plays his guitar, and he dyes his beard and hair trying to look young, and he don't want to get old. That long-haired hippie guy, he was actually right. My goodness. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting our country to be great, but you don't understand. We are living the last few years before Jesus Christ comes back. The last few years is called the tribulation period. We are well beyond the birth pains, folks. You're talking about a span of time of thousands of years. The birth pains have already occurred on the earth. We are now in the tribulation. The mark of the beast is here. The Antichrist is here. The great deception, the great falling away has occurred. Nuclear war is on the horizon. Financial collapse, famine, depopulation. We are right on the verge. We have clicked over to 2025. We have clicked over into God's final timeline. We're not going back to normal. America's not going to be great again. You're not going to be able to retire and see the world unless you're a billionaire or one of Donald Trump's buddies. You know what they just passed in the House of Representatives is the biggest transfer of wealth in America, from the poor people to the rich people. The biggest transfer of wealth from the poor, the needy, the middle class, until the billionaires. That's what this great and wonderful and beautiful bill Mike Moses Johnson just passed in the House of Representatives. And by the way, they did it at night, under the cover of darkness, where the devil likes to work the best, under the cover of darkness. And they wouldn't even read the bill, which is going to cut $800 billion from Medicaid, I believe $500 billion from Medicare and SNAP programs, and the elderly and homeless shelters, and Meals on Wheels, and Indian tribes, and minorities, and your drugs. They're eliminating health care for poor people that cannot afford health care. But go, Trump, go, yeah. It's make them billionaires great again. Make them great again. Right? As long as the millionaires and the billionaires can bring in more money, that's all that matters, isn't it? Isn't money the only thing that matters in this life? Making the rich richer and the poor poor so we can become slaves? Am I making sense right now? Remember Klaus Schwab? Everybody should know who Klaus Schwab is, right? Remember the Great Reset? Well, we're in the Great Reset, and it's not under Kamala, and it's not under Biden or Obama. It's under Donald Trump. He is the one that is resetting everything. Why can't you get that through your head? The man you voted for, he's the man they're using to reset the World Economic Forum, the Great Reset, the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Do you know how they're going to fulfill "you will own nothing and be happy"? Do you know how they're going to fulfill that? That you will own nothing, be happy, and eat bugs. And how are they going to get everybody in their little smart cities where everybody has 10 square feet? I'm sorry, 100 square feet of living area. How do you think they're going to do that? Because they've got to bankrupt the poor people and the middle class to be able to move you into their little smart cities, their little 100 square foot of living area, and you're going to be happy because they'll drug you up and you'll play video games all day long and eat your bowl of bugs. So everybody that you depended on to help you is now in the same situation. So then they can move you into those great luxury FEMA camps. Remember the FEMA camps where the barbed wire is facing the inside? The FEMA camps, right? Concentration camps, FEMA camps. How are they going to do that with people with good jobs and making good money? They can't do it. They've got to make you helpless, homeless, hungry, and unemployed. And then they can herd you around like a bunch of starving dogs on the street. So now they can move you into their 15-minute cities and give you some kind of drugs or put a Neuralink in your head, and you'll just be like a robot playing video games and eating your bowl of bugs. That's how they're going to do it. That's how they're going to do it. And, you know, the only way to prevent that, and we try to warn people, is to get out of debt. You have to leave the matrix. If you are in debt, you are in the matrix. Folks, you're not going to get better advice, I don't believe. Maybe you will, but I think I give you really good advice. If you want to get out of the system, you have to leave the matrix. What is the matrix? That is their control grid, where they are in control. How do you do that? The number one way is get out of debt. When you're in debt, you are a slave to the lender. You understand that. How do you get out of debt? Well, you sell your fancy friggin' house and you buy something for cash you can afford. You sell your high friggin' car payment that you pay in $500, $600, $700 on your new shiny car. You sell it and you buy something you can pay cash for. Where you don't own the car company, you don't owe the bank. If you're living in an apartment complex by yourself, get together with a few of your friends. Going together, buy a motorhome or a travel trailer. You know, some of these travel trailers, you can sleep 5 or 6 people, but you own the sucker, folks. You own it, right? You don't owe the bank anything. And save your money, move off grid, or have enough money to get out of the city. But your whole goal is to get out of the matrix. As long as you're paying a mortgage to the bank, as long as you're making a high car payment, you are in the matrix. You are in their control grid, and they are controlling everything that you do. Because if you lose your job, you don't own that house, do you? Do you own that car? How many car payments can you miss before they send the repo man and tow that shiny car away?